how do you think this pandemic has transformed journalism?
I know I feel more passionately about my calling because journalism is a calling, I believe. And it was always a sacred trust I felt between a journalist and the viewer or the reader or the listener or, whomever. But I feel that more now than I have ever in my life. And I think it's made me double down my commitment to the truth.
I want to venture to say that it's made the job easier in some fronts in that it's more getting, interviews when you're in different parts of the world has become more easy, but it's made it more difficult in that because of so many pseudo journalists and so much misinformation. So you're up against a bigger foe, which has as much reach as you, sometimes even more. It's really tough when people trust bad sources or are not able to kind of spot the fact that this is dubious, and the choice should be obvious to some people, but it's obviously not as much. Too many people believe in conspiracy theories still.
What would you tell future journalists who might go through the next pandemic?
Be careful. Because if you are not careful, who is going to tell the story? Don't get sick. Take care of yourself. Be very cautious, because we have a responsibility to the world to tell the stories as they're happening. And if we're not there to do it, not a lot of people are. And they're going to hear the wrong information.
Gentlemen?
Look, I'd say, really pay attention to the beginning of it, right? That's the most exciting bit.
So I would try and tell journalists to kind of look at the bigger picture from the beginning. I think in the beginning of this pandemic, there was a lot of finger pointing about, origins and conspiracy theories and tempers flare of a nation. What can we learn as a species from this pandemic? I think it's a fact that we need to live in harmony with nature, and the more we encroach upon their territories, the more we are at risk of this thing repeating. I have written editorials saying that it's not a matter of if, but when the next pandemic strikes. And because of globalization and increasingly mobile populations, it would spread like wildfire. And here we are, our worst nightmare come true. So I would tell journalists, just really, while you cover the day-to-day, don't lose sight of the big picture, because it really helps put things in perspective without that finger pointing, which frankly solves no problems and does not help us reach a solution where we can kind of exit the pandemic wiser and better prepared for the next one.